Hey there, troopers. This is Rabid, and I'm here to talk about a viewer requested video. This is going to be talking about 8 different ways that you can increase your chances of survival in the battlefield as the Ranger and the Sniper in Starship Troopers Extermination. Okay, let's start with the Ranger. There's going to be 4 tips each. So, first one is weapons. Use fast time to kill weapons for or AoE damaging weapons to prevent you from getting overwhelmed. So some examples will be like the slug and pellet pump shotguns, grenade launcher, any ammo modification, or even the flamethrower. So those things will kill things pretty quickly and or damage a bunch of different bugs all at once. That way you could just go in and out of combat, run in, run out, that sort of thing. You don't want to stay on one target for too long because there's always going to be a bug, somewhere around you that you cannot see, and that's when you get munched on. All right. Number 2, positioning and timing jump jets. This one might be Uh, kind of obvious, or I should say maybe kind of basic, but it's worth mentioning. Avoid jump jetting towards a mob of bugs. Sometimes you clip them and you get stuck in the mob, or sometimes you just happen to mantle on top of something. Both instances can get you killed. The mantling on top of stuff will happen a lot more frequently, especially if you're next to a bug corpse already, or you're next to some kind of like terrain object. It happens, and it's the most frustrating thing that can happen to a ranger. So, try to avoid that if you can. Sometimes I know it's unavoidable, but just throwing this out there just in case. All right. So, continuing with the positioning and timing of jump jets. If you're going to be jump jetting directly away from a bug, be aware of where you're going. You might land into another mob, or you might even fall off a really tall cliff. Or if you're on Agni Prime, you might even just fall into a lava pit. So you just kind of, need to be aware of your environmental surroundings and just kind of know the general area that you're in. Otherwise, you might run into an unfortunate accident and then you become bug food. All right. The last thing I want to mention is that when you're trying to move from place to place, you want to stay as mobile as you can. Uh, Meaning you want to run for a few seconds, jump jet, and you rinse and repeat. But the thing you don't want to do is using both charges at once. I mean, you can if you really need to cover a large area, like, say, the lava river on Agni Prime. You might need to use both at once to clear the river. But normally, you want to have one jump jet charge in reserve at all times because um, if you see a bug, uh, you need to escape from it. Uh, you definitely want to be able to have that jump jet charge, or else you become super vulnerable to an attack, and then if worst case scenario happens, you become bug food. So just keep a jump jet charge in reserve, and hopefully you don't have any unfortunate accidents. Number 3, escaping a mob. All right, so in order to temporarily break contact with the enemy, you might want to consider jumping off a really steep cliff, jumping over obstacles, or worst case scenario, if you really need to do something kind of scummy like this, you can just, I hate to say it, you can lead them to other troopers. That way you can break contact if you just need to heal up, reload, check the attack map, or anything like that. But I really don't recommend, leading the bugs directly to other troopers because it's pretty scummy. It's pretty toxic. Unless, uh, you let them know, you let them know ahead of time so that they can coordinate your rescue from the bugs. All right. Uh, Totally don't recommend it. I really don't. But if worst comes to worst, and you need help that bad, that's something you might want to consider. Okay. All right. Number four, the best perks to use. All right. So, first one is the Bloodlust perk. Any kill made in close range with any weapon, including your knife, will heal you over time. And it actually heals you pretty fast. And if you pair that with the Trauma Auto Injector perk, that means you kind of live forever. But what the Trauma Auto Injector perk does is that any lethal damage that you take, it won't kill you, and instead you'll become invulnerable for just a few seconds. It goes on a 30-second cooldown, so you can't really spam it, and I can't quite remember if it heals you up after that happens. Worth double checking, but I'm pretty sure it does. All right, so those are the four tips that I could think of off the top of my head to increase your survivability as a ranger. But what about his counterpart, the sniper? Well, let's check it out. First one is Sniper's Nest. All right, so when you think of sniping, you think of being in like, very high vertical location, right? No one else can get to you, bugs can't get to you, and you're all alone, really. But high vertical areas are not always the best. You have to keep in mind the angles in which a medic can revive you with a drone, just in case you do get killed. The other thing is that sometimes in these high vertical areas, you're not going to have a lot of outward facing obstacles to provide you cover from anything that can look up to you, like for instance, a gunner. If you don't have that available to you, you should try crouching to reduce your profile to the enemy and only stand to focus your shots for a limited time and then just crouch down again. So some examples of that would be like those fuel depots in Velaka, those large cylinder objects. The very top of those don't have any uh, cover at all for like, a gunner shooting you. So the best case is to just crouch down a little bit. All right. Number two, visual scanning and staying mobile. So the thing that gets snipers, if it's not a gunner, is gonna be a plasma grenadier and an inferno. So look out for incoming shots from both bugs. They typically will directly face you when they're targeting you. It could be a little challenging to see and interpret that at long range. But if you play the sniper enough, you should start developing kind of like a sixth sense for that. And when they do shoot, you really need to just get out of the way. Even if you don't think it's actually going to target you, just move. Just be careful. Avoid it. Avoid it while you can. Which leads me into the other part here. Occasionally, you do need to move because the enemies do kind of zero in on your position once in a while. Sometimes if you're in one spot for too long, gunners will kind of just roll out and try to, remove you for your position. And sometimes the same can be said of the Plasma Grenadier and Inferno. So if you can, try to find an alternate position for you to kind of camp in. It kind of like alternate as the time goes on. All right, so the next little bit about number two is that you got to work on your visual scanning. You don't want to like hard scope all the time, meaning like you're looking through the scope all the time. So what I recommend you do, you might see me do this when I'm sniping, is that you take your shot when you're in the scope, and you stop aiming with it. Take a second to look around real quick. It's only a few seconds, and do that while you're cycling the new round with a sniper rifle. Take the opportunity to look for gunners or other targets of opportunity. Uh, so those are pretty important. This leads me into number three, counter sniping gunners. So by far, the most lethal enemy you'll face on the battlefield is actually the gunner, because those things are very deadly. They hit pretty hard, and when they have you in their sights, they're not gonna let you go. They want you dead. Okay, so uh, eliminate them first before they even have an opportunity to start attacking you. And as another thing that you can do to help your team, if you see that a gunner is lighting up someone else, meaning like they're actively shooting at another trooper, just take a second to take it out, right? The trooper will, thank you from the bottom of their hearts, right? So just do your best, try to pick them off before they pick you off. And then after that, go after the Grenadiers and the Infernos. All right, hopefully that will keep you alive. Moving into the last one, number four, equip the Marathon perk so that you can run faster. So in some cases, you might even be able to outrun some of the bugs. And this will allow you to get to a safe area more quickly, or you can use this to get to an advantageous position like a sniper's nest and set up shop before the bugs get to you and overwhelm you. Okay, so those are four uh, tips for each class, so a total of eight that I could think of that will help you increase your survivability when you're playing as a ranger and as the sniper. All right, so hopefully, these things will allow you to do your job a little bit easier. Though, of course, there's always different variables that play in each map that can make it a little challenging. That's it for this one, folks. Nice, short, and simple. Again, I hope that is going to be helpful for you. If not, well, let me know and share some tips you think that could be helpful for other troopers to be aware of. Let me know in the comments. Alright, I gotta go. Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. See you in the battlefield.